Highnesses, Your Excellency, the High Commissioner for Britain, and Mrs. Doris, visiting dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. When, in the early part of the 20th century, the then principal of Trinity College, Reverend A.G. Fraser, wanted to build a new chapel for this school, this very site, which was used as a cricketing field, was selected as the most appropriate. The history of this college tells us that there had been much discussion and debate in regards to the design of the new chapel. The vice principal at that time, Reverend Lawrence G. Gesta, himself being a draftsman as well as a priest, had mooted the idea of having a new chapel built in the lines of Sri Lankan and especially Kandian architecture. He had said that he was inspired by the works and the ancient ruins that he saw in Polonnaruwa. The foundation stone was laid in 1922 when Trinity College celebrated its Golden Jubilee. The college had no money whatsoever, but yet set out with the project. Building the chapel was indeed a great act of faith, and it nearly took 50 years to complete all of its work. It was evident that there was a dire need for funds, and the staff at that time, many of who had come from the United Kingdom, went back to their own university colleges and schools in order to raise funds. The schools and university colleges in England that contributed the princely sum of ₹1,000 or more than that have their college crests engraved on the inner face of these pillars. The crests of the following highly reputed public schools and university colleges can also be seen on these pillars: Balliol, Hertford, and New College, Oxford. And these schools: Eton, Repton, Rossall, Marlborough, Wellington, and Winchester. As you can see, the chapel consists of 54 granite pillars, each intricately carved with a unique design. They were all individually brought to Trinity from the quarry by elephants. Each pillar is capped with a pekada made out of gum malu, described as the hardest of hardwood. Artisans, carvers, and craftsmen were found from various parts of the island, as well as from India, to undertake this job. The murals you see here were painted by David Painter, one of the most celebrated artists in the history of Sri Lanka, and indeed a proud son of Trinity College. Apart from the beauty of these paintings on its own right, what makes them particularly unusual is the representation of Christ himself. He is shown as clean-shaven and short-haired, very Sri Lankan in fact. The backdrop of the crucifixion depicts a location in the northeastern part of Sri Lanka, while the mural of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples depicts a simple Kandian building with a Sri Lankan countryside background. All the faces, other than that of Jesus himself, were modeled on members of the Trinity staff at that time. Finally, after 50 years of commitment and enthusiasm, the chapel was completed when Trinity celebrated her centenary in 1972. It was due to the efforts of men of vision and faith. They transformed their dreams into reality with the help of local craftsmen who revived the ancient Sri Lankan skills that has not been practiced for literally centuries. Thus, they created and left something inspiring for Trinitians young, old, and yet to be born. On my final note, I am both proud and humble to mention that for all of us as Trinitians, whether being Christian or not, this chapel stands as the symbol of all the core values we acquire whilst our presence at Trinity. Last but never the least, I would like to thank you for having visited our school and indeed our chapel. And we hope that you take away happy memories of your time at Trinity and indeed in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much. Respect Finem.